Humans. Humans are insane, actually wicked, twisted in their minds. As a whole, as a species. In my entire life I've never heard of, let alone took part in, a more bullshit battle plan that actually happened and actually succeeded. Sure, there are exaggerated tales of them going against incredible odds and defeating countless waves of enemy combatants. But, dear gods, I will tell you now how, since the very beginning, everything was not going the right way. This was the actual plan to assault the fourth planet in the Turaki home system, yes, Yervin, the fortress of Turek. Yes, they won. Somehow I lived to tell the story. So, I was sent by our dear ambassador, as an attaché from the Brians to the humans to share tactical and strategic insight with them. I was not surprised but was not expecting that when I proposed to assist them with my expertise. Laughing, they gave me some miniature uniform of theirs. Somehow they had them prepared, I don't know why, and a toy rifle that human children play with that made a loud sound and flashed at the muzzle when the trigger was pulled. Subsequently, they sent me to assist Colonel Oscar of the 1st Regiment of the 12th Warnot Division. What follows is a recollection of my experiences. I was following the colonel after he just got out of the briefing room with command and other high-ranking officers that would take part in the invasion dubbed Operation Cruel Lamp, the coalition's last push to end the war against the Union. Only the Turaki, some sort of ugly butterfly species for those not in the know, were left with war-waging capabilities, and humanity, having just entered the conflict, wanted to show how valuable they could be. One small problem hindered their quest for glory: politics. But I will elaborate on that a bit later. As I was saying, as I was following the colonel, I somehow already knew how pissed he was. Swift and tall, 1.9 m. He didn't even bother to wait for me. What can I do? I'm just 1.1 m. Or acknowledge my existence for what matters, as I was forced to run behind him while he was just walking fast, according to him. With a murderous force, he slammed open the door that lead to the first secondary hangar of the heavy assault ship Archangel. In the large emptiness, seated on cheap plastic and squeaky chairs, was silently waiting the entirety of the 1st Regiment. Despite his swiftness and steady pace, it took him a good 30 seconds to reach his intended destination. From the door he just broke the hinges of, walking around all the seated troopers, zigzagging through COs or simply pushing away NCOs. Finally he got up a little stage centered on the back wall of the hangar. He then began the most memorable speech of my life, for all the wrong reasons. Listen up, people. I am already extremely pissed, and if anyone dares to ask a remotely stupid question, I am going to personally vent her ass out from the nearest airlock. A creepy silence speaks 1,000 words. Hundreds of killers' souls stare in fear. I will make it simple and easy so that even the space crayon eaters coming from the Marines can understand. Afterwards I was told that Oscar was actually a mild and reasonable man, and if he started to shout, that meant that something was extremely not going well. The bastards from high command wanted to cut by half the units originally intended for the operation, stating that they wanted to preserve more precious lives, as much as possible. Bullshit. It's simply that, if we went in with a decent fighting force, our good-for-nothing allies would bitch about not having had the chance to fight those stupid moths. Because we killed them all, he said, as I, one of his allies, was standing a couple of meters from him. I knew I was on their side. I knew I was safe with them, yet a deep part of my soul was not convinced. Now, thanks to the efforts of the Grand Admiral, the naval forces were just cut in half, instead of the intended reduction to 1/4 of the starting units. So we are stuck with only the 14th Battle Group and a couple of escort squadrons. For a system-wide operation. Yes, the Grand Admiral showed up in the Senate with an abacus and some colored pencils to try and show them how it was not feasible to keep a coherent formation for a system-wide operation, with only enough units to check if the moon was still in orbit. To no avail. Oh, but don't worry. Our allies have our back. Meaning we are going to get fucked. In the ass. Raw. I felt offended, but somehow he convinced me that we were, in fact, to blame. Even if we had nothing to do with Terra's internal politics. There were also cuts for the ground units involved. The Grand General, God bless that woman, managed to make up plans for a system invasion with half the intended units in just 6 hours. Everyone in the room felt relieved. Some took a deep breath to let out the bad thoughts. I remember one soldier put back a wooden cross. I don't know what that meant. But I cannot exactly translate human emotions, but it seems like everyone in the room had the same facial expression. eyes looking up at the ceiling, and their bodies seemingly suffering under heavy gravitational force. Because our dear senators back home were complaining that we are not being inclusive enough when regarding the other branches of the armed star forces, had to put their little greasy stubby fingers somewhere that is not up their butt and felt the need to change something here and there in the newly drawn plans. So, they demanded we include 3 divisions from the system guards. I heard many voices at that time, very different in tone and volume. But the words spoken were just a few. Fuck. Shit. Why, oh God, and a couple of we are all going to die. Settle down, soldiers. Thanks to our great grand general threatening to resign. For the 3rd time this year, she managed 2 miracles. 1. Only 1 division will take part in the operations. 2. It will be on the fuck-off isolated moon, accompanied by a couple of regiments from our friends in the Marine Corps. This time it's their turn to do babysitting. Everyone in the room cheered as if the war was won. I remember 2 male soldiers whom I would meet later who were definitely heterosexual kiss. Unfortunately, to make room for the 321st System Guards Division, they had to pull out the 13th Warnauts. A deathly silence engulfed the room. I just think I just saw someone bash her head against the wall, all normal apparently. So, now that I gave you the overview for this shitshow that someone dared to call operational theater, I will tell you the even worst part that's waiting for us. We are going to assault the planet known as... The colonel took a good look at his notes, somewhat disgusted by everything. The planet of Yurvan, known as the Fortress of Turek. Now, I don't care whether it's dubbed the Fortress of Good Sense or the Fortress of Please Don't Break Into Me, I'm a Virgin, because we are going to smash that damned floating space rock. Just like the postman does with your mommy when daddy is at work, you understand? Sir, yes SIR. Good, now, back to the units involved. In case you don't know, you are part of the 12th Warnauts. The 12th will participate in the assault. Other assigned units to our or nearby objectives are the 43rd and 50th Marine, the outstanding 321st SG, and 2 regiments from the 22nd Marine. I know all of you hope to be as far away from the 321st as possible. And that wish has been granted. Rejoice. But I already told you that. They will assault the planetary moon with the 2 extra Marine regiments. God have mercy on those poor bastards. The Marines, I mean. Everyone was ecstatic from the news, but deep down knew that this came at a price. They don't simply get away from babysitting without a reason. In exchange for not having them on the same celestial body, our orders are to take the planetary fortress, ahem, with no starship support, no close air support, no distant air support. You guessed? No damned air support. We will perform a halo drop. So no heavy equipment. Say bye-bye to all heavy artillery, APC, IFV, tanks, or anything that weighs more than your mother's. At night, probably it will rain. LZ Alpha is a swampy, roadless, and godless muddy hole. The division will be split into 4 waves, due to the impossibility to perform a proper assault or landing without a single friendly naval escort, 3 hours apart. The situation was by all means fucked up, as many humans repeatedly said. How they even gave the green light for such an operation is beyond me, and yet, they succeeded. Now me and the officers back in the briefing room played a little funny game. It involves some sticks of different lengths and normally someone gets but hurt. Rest assured, we are not going to be the first wave. We will be the second, which is possibly even worse because by the time we are scheduled to get there, the fight most likely will be in full rage and going on for something like the past 2 hours at best. Try to land in one piece. I know this is already demoralizing and it really sucks, but at least as soon as we secure a 50 kilometers radius from the LZ, they will drop us some towed artillery and IFVs. If we push the bastards 60 kilometers from the LZ, they will finally send the rest of the equipment. Nice and easy. Some soldiers even dared to smile. Wrong. That is even if the supplies make it to the surface. Did I forget to tell you? Because of some unknown factors, our naval forces are split too thin and can't operate efficiently on their own. So the Grand Admiral opted to mass naval assets only on 2 priority targets where they will be more needed, such as their cradle world and around the asteroid belt where their shipyards are. Spoilers, we are the 3rd most important priority. Meaning we have no human naval assets in orbit except for our 4 assault ships, of which only the one we are currently sitting in, the Archangel, is an heavy assault ship. So we have to put faith into our allies to not only hold them from glassing our sorry bottoms from orbit, but also break the planetary blockade and allow us and our supplies through. Meaning we will have to take what chances we have and can't hope for a coordinated assault on the surface. Actually, forget what I said earlier about the 3-hour interval between waves. We will drop whenever the corridor is open long enough to get us to the surface. If such a thing even happens. Never ever those soldiers have partake in a more cocked-up plan. Not even in the April operations, not even in the spooky simulations, not even other dumb species such as us, have birthed a more idiotic, uncoordinated, and understaffed plan than this. Well, orders are orders. Even if they were drawn up in 6 hours by a caffeine-addicted, underslept and hysterical woman using half-eaten crayons while her hands are still soaked in blood of the senators who approved this thing. In the following hours, individual battalion commanders will explain in more details to each unit. Dismissed. One of the other officers intervened. This is all for now. Prepare your equipment. Light drop. For fuck's sake, said someone from the back rows. Shut up and don't smash any chairs against the wall or ground or fellow soldiers. It's an order. Also, don't break anything on your way to the armory or after exiting it. I swear I saw, way in the distance, obscured by the faint lights and the fog of the hangar bay, a bunch of silhouettes slowly putting back some raggedy-ass plastic chairs and one a fire extinguisher. They had to put out some flames with their boots. What happened there? I dare not know.